name is Dr. Ajili Tobi.
My name is Etemari Glover.
Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News. Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Hello and welcome to the news on the hour. I am Lavina Emma, and here are the headlines. Nigeria's inflation surges to 29.90% in January. Kenyan shilling surges to 3-month high on confidence in Eurobond repayment. Bank of England expresses optimism in UK's inflation data. And now, the news in full. Nigeria's annual inflation has risen to 29.90% in January from 28.92% in December. According to the country's Bureau of Statistics, the increase is attributed to significant surge in food prices, with inflation reaching 35.41% year-on-year in January, up from 33.93% in December. Inflation in Africa's largest economy has remained double digits since 2016, impacting incomes and savings. The rise in inflation comes amidst ongoing efforts by the government to mitigate the high cost of living, including the distribution of food items. The Nigerian House of Representatives is proposing a transition from the current presidential system to a parliamentary model through 3 bills introduced for constitutional amendments. Spearheaded by the minority leader, Honorable Kingsley Chinada, and 59 others, the bill advocates for a prime minister to lead the government, pushing the president to a ceremonial role and integrating elected officials from the legislature into executive positions. According to them, this will help to enhance accountability, streamline governance, and reduce the exorbitant costs associated with the current system. By igniting a national discourse on governance, proponents envision a more efficient and responsive administration, fostering progress and development across the nation. Nigerian cocoa farmers and exporters are reaping substantial rewards amidst the global surge in cocoa prices, fueled by significant devaluation of the naira, with cocoa costs nearly doubling since the year's onset and reaching a historic peak of $5,874 per ton on February 8. Adverse weather conditions in leading West African producers such as Ivory Coast and Ghana have triggered a supply shortage, propelling prices upward. According to the Financial Market Dealers' quotations, the depreciation of the naira has further inflated cocoa prices, with data indicating a staggering 344% increase in prices compared to December 2023 locally. As cocoa farmers enjoy farm gate prices ranging from 6.5 million naira to 7 million naira per ton, exporters are witnessing robust demand, with a ton fetching between 8 and 8.5 million naira. This surge in the global prices has revitalized the cocoa sector, prompting farmers to expand production and signaling a promising outlook for Nigeria's cocoa industry. The Nigerian government has announced the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grains approved by President Bola Tinubu to impoverished Nigerians at no cost. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun disclosed over 5 billion naira intervention plans to alleviate the state's residents from the adverse effects of the country's economic challenges, including rising inflation and currency devaluation. Emphasizing sensitivity to the citizens' hardship, the governor outlined intervention initiatives encompassing education, healthcare, food distribution, and welfare packages for the workers. He underscored the necessity of enduring sacrifices for a promising future. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, says Nigeria's crude oil production slightly declined to 1.42 million barrels per day in January 2024, a 0.21% decrease from December. This contrasts with the government's budget projection of 1.78 million barrels per day for 2024. Data revealed that the country's total output rose from 1.33 million barrels per day to 1.42 million barrels per day. The organization has, however, reported increased crude oil production in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela, while overall OPEC production averaged 26.34 million barrels per day, down by 350,000 barrels per day. Global liquids production decreased to 101.8 million barrels per day in January, with OPEC's share standing at 25.9%. For Nigerians and other immigrants in Canada who are having challenges with finding homes, the end to this problem is no longer in sight, as the authorities in the North American countries have extended the ban it's placed on foreign property buyers.
The ban, which will have expired by January 1st, 2025, according to officials of the state, has now been extended by 3 years to January 1st, 2027. Part of the reasons for this ban is to give more Canadian citizens access to homes and also a response to escalating housing crises that have seen many migrants, including Nigerians, find homes in odd places such as cemeteries and streets. Canada, like Nigeria, is burdened by a rising housing deficit and affordability issues. And according to the authorities in the country, there have been a decline in owner-occupied houses, which they have blamed on commercial and speculative home buyers who are predominantly foreigners in the country. The government of Canada says it will build more houses faster and put home ownership back within the reach of the common man. Chrystia Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister, was quoted in a report as saying that by extending the ban, the government would ensure houses were used as homes for Canadian families to live in and do business. She argued that houses should should not become a speculative financial assets class, and that the government intended in using all possible tools to make housing more affordable to Canadians across the country. A statement from the country's Department of Finance stressed that foreign commercial businesses and non-Canadians or permanent residents will continue to be barred from purchasing residential property in the country. The development comes on the heels of reports which noted that between two Canadian censuses in 2016 and 2021, the number of Canadians living in owner-occupied homes dropped from 69% to 66.5%, which is the lowest number since 2022. Because of the country's high immigrant population like Lagos in Nigeria, Canada has a very active rental market which is already overstretched due to high demand, low supply and affordability issues. A report by researchers warned that government data was vastly underestimating the number of homeless across the country as it spread from major cities to small towns. The report notes that in Quebec, which is one of the provinces in the country, 1 in 2 homeless people can be found in rural parts of the eastern province instead of mainly in Montreal, as had been the case in the past. Bayo Olaoye, Souq News.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery, Africa's largest refinery, is set to export 2 fuel cargoes, marking its inaugural exports since its recent commissioning. The refinery, with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, will export low-sulfur straight-run fuel oil and naphtha. Trafigura has been contracted for the first shipment, totaling 65,000 metric tons, scheduled for loading at the end of February. This move signifies a shift for Nigeria from being a fuel importer to a potential net exporter to West African nations, reducing dependence on costly imports. The refinery, inaugurated in May, has faced delays in introducing aviation fuel and diesel for the sale in the Nigerian market. It recently purchased non-Nigerian crude, indicating diversification in its crude sources. Industry experts note that full production capacity may take several months to achieve. And let's go on a quick break.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for? And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching Souq News.
In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more. Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Moving on to Africa, Kenyan shilling surged to its highest level in over 3 months on Wednesday, bolstered by growing confidence in the government's ability to repay a Eurobond maturing in June. With a gain of over 3% against the US dollar, the shilling showcased resilience compared to its previous close of 155.50 or 156.50. Kenya's recent issuance of a $1.5 billion Eurobond in maturing in 2031, aimed at repurchasing a substantial portion of the $2 billion international bond due in June. It contributed to the positive sentiment. The anticipation of the Eurobond repayments reduces panic of buying foreign currency, which had driven the shilling to repeated record lows since late 2021. Additionally, foreign inflows into a 70 billion shilling infrastructure and the central bank's stance on supported recent interest rate hikes further improved the currency. The South African rand remains stable in early trade, holding at 19.06 against the US dollar with no significant local economic data expected. Attention turns to President Cyril Ramaphosa's response to a parliamentary debate on his State of the Nation address. Ramaphosa emphasized his party's achievements during the SONA speech, but provided new limited information addressing challenges like power shortages and logistic crisis. South Africa's 2030 government bond strengthens early on, with the yield down 5 basis points to 10.115%. Moving on to the foreign news, oil prices experienced a decline earlier today following a significant increase in U.S. crude inventories, sparking worries about demand in the world's largest economy. Brent crude futures slipped to 0.4% to $81.26 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell to 0.5% to $76.26 a barrel. The Energy Information Administration reported a 12 million barrel surge in U.S. crude inventories, far surpassing analysts' expectations. Despite concerns, gasoline and distillate stocks saw larger than expected declines, suggesting stable fuel demand buoyed by return to pre-COVID air travel levels, notably during China's Lunar New Year holiday. Analysts anticipate market sentiment to be influenced by OPEC's upcoming decision on extending supply curbs in March. Cisco Systems has announced a 5% reduction in its global workforce, equating to 4,000 job cuts, alongside a downward revision of its annual revenue target amidst global economic challenges. Shares dropped to 5% in extended trading after the company adjusted its revenue forecast to $51.5 to $52.5 billion. CEO Charles Robbins attributed the move to weak demand from telco and cable service providers. Analysts anticipate ongoing pressure on Cisco's product demand due to restrained spending among telecom clients. However, the company remains focused on growth initiatives, including partnerships with NVIDIA. Despite challenges, Cisco recorded better than expected second quarter results. The company's strategic restructuring aims to prioritize high growth sectors, reflecting its adaptability in a dynamic market. Away from Africa now, Stellantis, the world's largest automaker, warns of a turbulent 2024 after a 10% drop in operating profits in 2023. The decline attributed to strikes in North America, which impacted the company's profit powerhouse. Adjusted operating profits reached 10.2 billion euros, exceeding analyst expectations. Stellantis proposes a 1.55 euro per share dividend, up from 16% from the previous share, and announces a 3 billion euro share buyback for 2024. Despite higher labor costs, the company maintains its forecast for a double-digit margins on adjusted operating profits and positive industrial free cash flow in 2024. In another development, Stellantis and Renault intensify efforts to reduce electric vehicle costs, aiming for price parity with fossil fuel models amidst competition from affordable Chinese EVs. High costs and limited charging infrastructure hinder broader EV adoption. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares emphasizes the need for cost reduction to align EV and fossil fuel model prices. Falling battery material costs contribute to narrowing margins, fostering optimism about accelerated convergence. European automakers strive for a delicate balance between cost reduction and maintaining investor-desired profits. South Korea unveils a $57 billion financial support program for companies facing high interest rates. The initiative includes cheap policy loans for key industries and supports for small businesses. Chairman Kim Jo-hyun emphasizes the need for expanded support beyond consumer financing, citing evolving trade relations, technological advancements, and global supply chain challenges. Banks to offer temporary interest rate costs for companies facing liquidity troubles in 2024. We'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned.
In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souq News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souq News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souq News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souq News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souq News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. Farmers' unions in India are set to engage in discussions with government ministers to address their demands for higher crop prices. The protest, marked by tear gas and police barricades, aim to secure a minimum price for all produce to sustain farmers' livelihoods. As a significant voting bloc, farmers' concerns gain prominence ahead of national elections, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking a third term. The talks followed failed attempts earlier this month, and if unproductive, protesters advocate for the right to peaceful demonstrations. Farmers wait for outcomes at state borders, emphasizing the need for fair crop prices amid financial crisis. Governor, Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, has expressed optimism regarding Britain's recent inflation data, deeming it good news as it aligned closely with the central bank's expectations and indicated early signs of economic recovery, despite consumer prices rising by 4.0% in the 12 months to January. The slightly lower than projected Bailey remained encouraged, highlighting the stability compared to potential scenarios, while the bank maintained its benchmark rate as 5.25%, signaling a forthcoming rate cut. Investors anticipated a shift as early as June, following the release of inflation figures. Furthermore, Bailey emphasized the need for clearer evidence of receding wage growth before considering interest rate cuts, citing the importance of falling inflation in shaping inflation expectations and wage bargaining. Additionally, he noted indications of a potential economic rebound despite uncertainty over whether Britain experienced a shallow recession in late 2023. China's BYD Company Limited is set to establish a new electric vehicle factory in Mexico, aiming to create an export hub to the United States, recently surpassing Tesla Incorporated to become the world's leading EV manufacturer in terms of sales. BYD plans to conduct a feasibility study for the Mexican plant while negotiating with officials over location and terms. According to BYD Mexico country manager Zhu Zhu, despite its strong presence in China, the auto company seeks global expansion by constructing overseas plants and augmenting Chinese exports. With Mexico's robust automaking sector closely linked to the U.S. industry, the company's move reveals the importance of international production for a global brand. Meanwhile, in Latin America, BYD eyes a significant investment in Brazil, earmarking $620 million for a new industrial complex in northeastern Bahia state. Japan chip maker Renesas Electronics Corporation has announced its intention to acquire Altium, an electronics design firm based in the United States and listed in Australia, for a $5.9 billion cash. This move aims to bolster Renesas' capabilities by offering digital device design services to its clientele. Renesas CEO Hidetoshi Shibata emphasized the importance of evolving beyond traditional manufacturing to avoid marginalization in the industry. The acquisition, which represents a 34% premium over Altium's previous closing price, underscores Renesas' commitment to staying competitive and resilient amid geopolitical challenges. The deal, subject to approval from Altium shareholders and regulatory bodies, is expected to close in the latter half of the year, driving both companies' stocks in opposite directions as investors assess its long-term impact on Renesas' growth trajectory. Japan faces an unexpected recession, relinquishing its status as the world's third-largest economy to Germany. The nation's gross domestic product, GDP, declined by an annual 0.4% in the fourth quarter of 2023, marking 2 consecutive quarters of contraction, considered a technical recession. Weak demand in China's sluggish consumption and production halts, notably at Toyota Motor Corporation units, contribute to the economic challenges. Concerns arise about the Bank of Japan's plan to exit ultra-loose monetary policy, with analysts suggesting the data might impede early rate hikes. Japan's nominal GDP for 2023 stands at $4.21 trillion, slipping below Germany's $4.46 trillion. Now to sports. Soccer fans in Ghana took to the streets of Accra to demand football reforms following national team's failure to advance beyond the group stage at the Africa Cup of Nations. Clad in Save Ghana football t-shirts, The protesters urged an investigation into alleged corruption and wasteful spending by the Ghana Football Association during the 2022 World Cup and 2023 Cup of Nations. They also called for a national football policy, increased investment in grassroots football, and improvements to the local league.